Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Middle Ages Comic Hour with Jamie and Ryan. I am Jamie, and Ryan is obviously Ryan. Are you still Ryan? Ryan?
I identify as Ryan, yes, still at the moment. Yes, I do.
That's good. Look, I don't know about you, but I'm really enjoying this series.
Definitely.
Bringing out the child in me, the nerd in me, and there's been so much turtle stuff happening. And yes, we're not going to be doing turtles forever. There's going to be a few more things happening. Excited to tell you guys that we are having a guest on shortly, called Jamie Johnson. He is a comic book artist. He's done a few variants for IDW, the Ninja Turtle series, and he's done some stuff with the Phantom, which it's going to be awesome to talk to him. But he's agreed to come on, and it's going to be we'll try and keep it to an hour, but it might go over an hour. But either way,
yes. The Phantom, that's the comic series that's been going on for about 75,000 years.
Oh yeah, but it is seriously one of my favorites. I don't know what it is. I think my old man used to read it all the time. It used to be in the newspapers. And then when that classic Billy Zane film that didn't age well, but I remember it being so good. Like when I watched it at the time, it was so good. I just love that character. Did you ever watch that other? They did another. I think it was a TV film.
No, I can't say. I can't say. But the Billy Zane film was what? Because I just always remember back. You know, I used to talk about back in the day. You used to be able to go to the paper shop and the news agency and buy the comics, but these days the only comics the news agents stock are the Phantom, pretty much. Like every news agency I go into around our area, it's just the Phantom. So someone must be buying it.
Yeah.
But no. Speaking of really bad comic book movies, I've been doing a sort of a catalog, so to speak, of the high seas of movies from the 1990s to 1999.
All right.
And I came across that really really bad Captain America movie that came out in '92, I think it was.
Really?
Yeah, with the Red Skull, with just it looks like it's like a beanie.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's just as bad as you remember, if not worse.
Looking it up.
It's the Red Skull, and I think I got about 35 minutes into it before I was, you know what, this is definitely not good.
Oh wow! I'm looking at it now.
The costume is literally like the felt. It looks like felt.
You know what it reminds me of?
What's that?
Captain Australia.
I know, I reckon
it's like Captain Australia bought the costume from the movie, painted it green and gold.
And if you want a little bit of trivia, this movie actually came out in the Philippines, but it wasn't called Captain America. It was called Blood Match.
Yes.
But basically, the plot of it is I've just brought it up here. So, in 1936, in Italy, fascist government kidnapped a child prodigy, Tadzio DeSantis, and kills his family to use him for an experimental project to create a fascist super soldier. Dr. Maria Vasili, which is very close to Vasili, objects to this cruelty and defects to the United States to offer her. So she's essentially the Professor Erskine, which is pretty much the only thing they keep the same is Steve Rogers. Is his name Steve Rogers? But obviously we've got Vasili Vaselli, Vaselli, so it's very close. He's murdered by a Nazi spy secretly working with the Red Skull, and it's not great at all. So
on a rating from Velocipasta to Chris Evans, where does this land?
Probably just a little bit of a point above Velocipasta. Yeah, so I'm gonna say don't check it out. I mean, check it out if you want a bit of a laugh.
There's YouTube clips and stuff.
Yeah, it's literally just it's a very quick. I think it goes for an hour and a half. Yeah, and even I couldn't make it through that. But yeah, it was very, very bad. But yeah,
Uh,
that came out in the 90s. And just think
yeah,
10 years later we get X-Men, which was actually a really good film.
yeah,
So the technology has come a long way in
yeah.
and there's also a counterpart. I think it came out in the 80s or 70s, the Doctor Strange. You'll have to look that up.
Yeah, no,
That's
I have watched that Doctor Strange one. I tried to get through it, but it was just weird. I'm just like, what? Like, especially
but it seems
after you watch Benedict Cumberbatch, you're just like,
but it seems like Marvel started off like really and then went up. And then
yeah,
after No Way Home,
yeah,
started to come down again,
yeah,
and down and
yeah,
down,
yeah.
and then Guardians 3, and then went up, and then Secret Invasion down, down, down,
Yeah, it's just like,
and then later,
what are
the
we
next
doing?
one, the next one is the Marvels, which is down, down,
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
So,
That's
but
funny.
yeah, that was a bit of a that was funny to watch. But that's not Turtles related. But what have you been doing Turtles related this week, Joey?
Apart from reading The Last Ronin,
Mm-hmm.
I did get another delivery of the issue 5 of the Last Ronin Lost
Oh yeah,
Years. Haven't
yeah.
read it yet. I think I've only read one or two of them. I'm probably gonna, after we do this series, then I'll probably concentrate on that more. Um, but
Well, did you know that there was a one shot called Last Days that came out in between issue 4 and 5?
I yeah, I think so. I think I got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was just like a one shot kind of part of that event.
yeah,
I only found it when I was getting the issue 4 of The
yeah,
Last Ronin, so I noticed that was out. So
yeah. But I'll tell you, like with the which we talked about just a couple of episodes ago, um, the Stranger Things crossover with the Turtles.
yep, yep,
Like I haven't read it yet, but I feel I want to collect it. I don't know why, probably because I love both
yeah,
things equally.
yeah,
But I found the second issue was ridiculously hard to get.
yep,
Like it's not even out yet. Like I just want to pre-order it,
yep.
and I had to get pre-order it from the UK.
Oh
It's just
wow.
like everywhere else it was like, no, we're sold out. So it seems like this second issue is going to be very um popular.
Well, clearly the first issue did really well.
Yeah,
Because the only reason why the second issue would be already, really hard to get is if people have read the first issue and gone, you know what, I want the next one, and they've already
yeah,
pre-ordered it.
yeah. So
But yeah, no, I'm definitely interested in that series. It's a good premise. Like I'm the same as you. I love
yeah,
Stranger Things. I love the Turtles.
yeah.
So
Uh,
and they've proven it with it's obviously with Batman and then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was
mm-hmm.
fantastic. So and IDW are really really good with their crossovers. So
Yeah,
um I have no doubts that it's going to be just as good as any of the other ones that we've read.
yeah. 100%.
But so I
Also,
started rereading the IDW series again
yeah,
because I'm just outside the first arc, so I've just finished the first arc.
yeah,
Those IDW Ultimate collections are fantastic. They've got
yeah,
those, the little, the one shots put in right where they're supposed to go, so you don't
yeah,
have to go or looking for reading orders or anything.
yeah,
So they're amazing. I think the new one just came out. That's why it got me into
yeah.
wanting to go back. So
But man, I flip and love Old Hob. He's such a
yeah,
cool character. I want to see a live action Old Hob. I always had the idea, like way back when I was working on screenplays and stuff like that. I wrote a few. I mapped out a Ninja Turtle. Um, Nickelodeon, if you're listening, I mapped out my own turtle arc series and all that stuff, and I wanted to do a Casey Jones movie by him, like a spin-off
yeah,
kind of stuff. But I would have him take on Old Hob. Like
okay.
I
It'll be like more like a ground level.
yeah, like
Well, I
street
mean that's
level.
what the turtles are really, except when they
Yeah,
go into space and other dimensions and
yeah.
stuff. But yeah, they're more
See,
like a ground level.
that's what I want, and Chris would agree with it. That look, he loves the Triceratons.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
I flip and love. I in my movies that I've made, I wanted them to. They have an archaeologist digging up dinosaur bones. You know, go, oh, it's a triceratops, and then keep going, and it's
Oh,
just
there's
like,
another one. And then they've got guns and
yeah,
there's
yeah, well, yeah,
weapons.
pretty much. Like, you know, you have this like humanoid, like, so it's the heads are the same, so they just think, oh yeah, and then they dig down, and it's just like humanoid arms, and
Yeah,
you know, and you're just like, that'd be cool. I don't know how I'd make it that they, you know, came here thousands of years before, but maybe help us build the pyramids or whatever. But you know,
yeah. There you go.
you know, but I just think that that's how I would have started one of my films. But
Yeah, definitely. I think they're just, I just want to see a Ninja Turtle movie where there's like, don't get me wrong, obviously, Shredder is a big part of the lore
yeah,
and everything, but I just want to see them take some chances and give us. I mean, I just mentioned to you, I'm playing through Shredder's Revenge, the
yeah,
remastered, or not remastered, the like
yeah,
the really good sort of beat 'em up game
yeah,
on the Xbox at the moment, and everyone's in it. You've
yeah,
got so many different characters to pull from,
yeah,
and I would love to see a Triceratops movie.
yeah,
Like give us something
yeah,
like that. We don't always
yeah.
have to stick to Shredder and Crane.
What I would love to do, you could do a whole Baxter Stockman movie, just a movie on
Yeah,
Baxter Stockman.
yep,
Would be incredible. Rat King, I'd want to do, but it would
yep,
be the way I'd do it. It would be a full blown horror. It wouldn't be a kids.
yeah, yeah,
You got to think about it, like this dude can control rats.
yeah,
What's Splinter again?
yeah,
You
exactly,
know, like the stuff
exactly.
you could you know do. You know, it'd be incredible.
Yeah, definitely.
But you know, like don't get me wrong, like I think an origin always has to start with Shredder. Um,
Yeah, I know, but it's like Batman. Like how many times do we need to like Spider-Man? Like that's where I
yeah,
feel the Tom Holland movies went really well because
yeah,
we didn't have to have that. Oh my God, Uncle Ben's dead. That's why I'm
yeah,
Spider-Man kind of thing.
yeah,
I mean, we still got that moment. The great power with great responsibility, but not till at the end of the third
yeah,
film.
yeah,
We don't need to see Thomas and Martha Wayne die every single
yeah,
time.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like we don't have like I'm not saying look that Shredder is like the Green Goblin. He's like the Joker. He's of the Turtles, but we can explore other avenues. I mean, we've seen Shredder in pretty much every iteration of the Ninja Turtles comic. But I am excited to. I got my hands on I think the 2003 Ninja Turtles.
Ah, yes,
Uh,
we're talking about that. Yeah,
Definitely, I've finally got it all. It's all
yeah,
ready to go. So I'm looking forward to diving into that. Maybe hopefully this weekend too, because I'm doing everything Turtle lately since we've started this series.
and it's a big commitment too.
I think it's
But
17, but yeah,
yeah, but like we said, minimum you only need to watch five because
yeah,
it's a great arc. Like I said, Peter Ladd's involved, and I honestly feel I lean more towards Peter's style over Kevin's. Don't get me wrong, I love Kevin, but I just they both have good stuff, but like it's just my favorite moments of all the turtles has been Peter Ladd involved.
Well, I mean, I will watch all seven because I'm the guy that watched all 15 of Supernatural, remember?
Yeah,
So I
that's
will. I
true.
have to. Yeah, I mean, I like how you say you don't have to. No, no, I have to. Like
Yeah,
I'm the guy who, in playing Final Fantasy 16 at the moment, who's doing side quests and I'm just skipping through the dialogue because I don't want to do it, but I have to do it because I need to complete it.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that because I know how much you rave about it, and I think I've seen one episode at your place. But
Yeah, and from memory, I held open the comic book and went, "See the same words."
I'm looking forward to that, especially after playing the game and revisiting all those characters.
Yeah,
Like Leatherhead and just all those. Oh, a lot of characters that I didn't even know. Like I don't know much about those frogs. Napoleon
oh
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
think about them. So
Rasputin.
yeah, they're all named after like they're the kind of well,
Yeah,
what they're called punk
yeah,
frogs or something like that.
yeah.
So
Genghis Frog or something
yep,
like that. Yeah,
yep.
yeah,
And different ones that I haven't really experienced too much of. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm keen to dive in, and obviously we'll see this new movie and we'll give our thoughts and
yeah.
criticisms in probably more criticisms than thoughts, but Yeah.
Yeah. So, but one more bit of news before we dive into this issue 4 of the Last Ronin. You sent me something today, Ryan, and I
I did.
believe my exact words were, "Dude, don't tempt me." Yeah, they've announced an arcade machine, a specific arcade machine with it's a quarter scale, I believe, 0.14, of the Turtles in Time arcade game.
And I remember you talking very fondly of this game.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like
Yeah.
I love the Turtle arcades. The only arcade machine that if I saw it, I would 100% buy it, regardless of whether I have room for it or not, is the Jurassic
Oh
Park
yeah.
shooter one. Just
Yeah.
because I have
Yeah.
so much fond memories of that, of finishing, like being the only arcade game that I finished, albeit I spent probably $100 just getting through it. Like I loved
Yeah.
that game. But this is close. This is a close call as a turtle fan. Yeah.
Yeah, EB. I think for you Australian listeners, EB Games are taking pre-orders for it at the moment. So
Yeah.
it's it's definitely like it's not for the your average Joe who I mean you got to have room for it and you got to have the cash for it, but it looks
Yeah.
pretty.
From what I can tell, is it's like a whole one but chopped in half. So you kind of
Yeah,
sit it on a table
yeah,
and
correct.
play it. I think I watched the video trailery thing for it. I think it even comes with the option of a handheld
Oh, nice.
controller as well. But
Okay.
no, you know me, I want to stand there and bash buttons and go die, die. You know,
Yeah, but I
but
just saw it and I saw it very early this morning and I just had to dangle the little carrot over to
yes, yes, you did.
and as I said, it would be perfect for your bachelor pad.
Yes,
And I think if you really wanted to find some room for it, you could find some room for
yes.
it.
No, well, I've been doing a bit of rearranging lately for to actually I've made the hard decision to sell some of my stuff.
Oh
Um,
no.
Nothing turtle related, don't worry. Um, but yeah, and I'm going to sell some stuff off, and hopefully someone will buy it. Because I got a lot of stuff that's increased in value. I'm like, oh, wow, that's like worth a lot. I could probably get some coin for it. Like, I mean, my floating Back to the Future
Mm-hmm.
DeLorean, which I got for like $400. It's now selling for 3.5 grand.
Oh damn.
But I'm like, I don't want to sell that.
No, I know. Yeah.
I've got no room for it, but
Yeah.
it's in its box. It's on the shelf, but it's not out of its box. But I'm like, not yet,
Yeah.
not yet, not yet. Like that sort of
Give
thing.
it a bit longer. Yeah.
Things I won't sell, but yeah, I am making room for uh
Okay.
more stuff. But we'll see, we'll see. Anyway, guys, if you have not listened to the other 3 episodes of our Last Ronin review and going through, you should probably jump back now, unless you want to get spoiled and wonder what's going on and all that. Because we're going to dive into this. So this one's called Blood in Snow. It is issue 4 of the Last Ronin series. Of course, it is written by Peter Laird, Kevin Eastman, and Tom Waltz. Ryan, what was your thoughts? Just overall thoughts before we dive into it.
Yeah, look, I mean, you can tell we're getting to the end of this. This is the second last issue of this series. Um, it's kind of a little bit more fast paced than the others. I've
Mm-hmm.
found like we've got two main different scenes in different eras, and it goes through it quite quickly.
Yeah.
It gets right into it because I figure, they've got a lot of ground to cover in the last two issues.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely it definitely made me hate um whatever Rocco's first name is, Shredder's
Yeah.
grandson.
Yeah.
It made me hate him even
Hiroto.
more.
Hiroto, I
Hiroto,
think.
that's right. Yeah, it made me hate him even more.
Oh yeah.
You already do. But yeah, no, it was definitely another hard hitting one, and you can see that from the front cover of the issue.
Yeah.
The front cover is just, your traditional Japanese forest. You've got a book bound, which clearly, is something that Mikey's working with at the moment, and then you've
Mm-hmm.
obviously got the iconic bow staff in the snow, foreboding of what will most likely happen in the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't shy away from, they're going, like, see this? It's gonna happen. And even though as you're reading, you're like going, please don't happen, and just like, you know what's gonna happen.
Definitely.
Yeah. But yeah. Only interesting bit of trivia is that they, Professor Honeycott, who is the future Toid, or the
Mhm.
consciousness of Professor Honeycott, they reveal his first name, and it lines up with the 2012 animated series.
Okay.
So it's the continuity of that, which
Okay.
is pretty cool because that was, I believe that voice was David Tennant.
Oh,
Um,
really? Oh, there you go.
so that's pretty, pretty cool.
Okay.
I love it when big names pop up in a series, or you're like, oh, what? Like when
Oh,
James
definitely.
like when James Earl Jones turned up in Stargate on one episode, and you're just like, what? The legendary James Earl Jones is just
Yeah.
randomly in this episode being this voice, and he's in it for like a whole episode, but he doesn't say much. But you're like, but you're James Earl Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
And yes, apparently I'm comparing James Earl Jones to David Tennant, or David
There
Tennant
you
to
go.
James Earl
I'm
Jones.
sure. I'm
Uh,
sure he'll take that as a
Compliment.
very big compliment.
Yes. Well, both are in sci-fi, so um,
Mhm.
anyway, let's crack this open and go on a wonderful journey
Of
of
death and destruction.
death and destruction. Very, very fast-paced
Hmm.
action. Um, Immediately they're in the thick. It is Mikey and Casey Marie,
Hmm.
full tech suits, full tactical suits, should I say,
Yeah. Yeah.
fighting outside the compound of, and this is what my immediate thoughts were, Baxter Stockman's compound. And it's obvious that Casey is now under the tutelage of Mikey because she's calling him sensei.
Correct. Yeah.
You're just like, what?
And that's the ability, I'm thinking, hold on, did I miss an issue or did I
Yeah,
miss a part? Because it
yeah,
makes you think, hold on. But then you just got to have faith because they always go
yeah,
back and explain
yeah,
everything.
yeah. Well, this one actually jumps around a bit. It
It does,
flashes
yeah.
in present day, it flashes backwards and forwards, and then it goes back even further. And then once they go back further, it goes back even further.
Yeah.
Like I believe there's about 3 or 4 time jumps.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I did not find it confusing. Like
Not at all.
it sounds confusing, but they've done such a good job of different tones, different colors, different animation styles to kind of let you know that this is a different part of the story, different time zone, so to speak.
Definitely.
Yeah, so basically Mikey tells Casey, oh, I'm gonna go over here. You go over there, you do that. And then he's taking on all these robots, and then he gets trapped. And then Casey comes back and helps him and
Hmm.
says a wonderful line of terrible discipline, excellent initiative, don't do it again.
Yeah, I like that.
uh, yeah, it's great. And I quite like Casey's design. She's got her own mask.
Hmm.
Um, and then obviously we flash back to Mikey watching Casey train, and all the turtles behind him being, making their comments.
Yeah, it's kind of like a montage of her.
Yeah,
He's trying to work out. The guys are like, well, yeah, she'd be great if we had some time to train her, but we don't got the time to train her.
yeah,
And Mikey's just like he has to kind of take a high road, and he's got to like basically put a little bit on her
yeah,
and sort of get her riled up a bit so that he can quickly identify what's wrong with the fighting style and change it straight away.
yeah. And look, I love it. You're seeing how far Mikey has progressed in his
Mhm.
style, because essentially he's perfected all styles.
Yeah,
Like, and he's just doing the typical, well, too slow, too fast,
yeah, exactly.
And it's the typical and the frustrated student trying to take down the master in first go. Um, it's awesome. And then obviously, he says, "All right, I'll train you," and she says, "What?" And then, funny enough, April approves.
Hmm.
She loves how much they've been bonding. Um, and it's everything that Casey needs right now, to be honest.
Yeah, because basically April just says, look, it's just been me and her for so long.
Yeah,
She hasn't really had any other influence in relation to, any other people to sort of help her grow up. And she
yeah,
sees this as a really good opportunity for Mikey to sort of step into the sort of elder kind of master role like Splinter did for them.
yeah.
And then obviously she's like, hey, our readers, essentially me, need to know what happened, like what happened in Japan when you got
Yeah,
over there. I need to know.
I,
And
I,
then
I,
obviously,
I love how there's like no subtleties there. You
no,
know,
not at all.
it's just like, tell us what happened. And he's like, all right.
Yeah,
And then we get like again, I love this old school art style.
yeah,
It's a throwback to the original. Um, no color.
yep.
Um,
The early days.
yep. And yes, so basically, yeah, Mikey says he ditches the cargo hold from the plane that he traveled to Japan in, and he went searching for Splinter and Donnie. Um, he gets lost, stumbles into a village,
As you do.
which just happens to be Clan Hamato.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
for those playing at home, that is Splinter, uh, Clan Hamato. Um, and we meet its leader, Master Shinichiro. I'm probably saying
Mhm.
that wrong. It's like
Yeah,
with
no,
the
that's I mean, that's how it's spelled out and
yeah,
everything. So I'm going to go with that.
yeah. And Mikey's like, okay, where's Master Splinter? And they're like, okay, now it's time for you to
And then
tell
they
us
say,
the flashback.
here he is. He's perfectly fine, and nothing bad has happened, and
And
he's
thank
just
you for
here.
listening. Thank you for listening to the TMNT Last Ronin
Exactly.
series.
And you know what? It was actually like a veiled. Raph's not dead. Leo's not dead. Casey's not dead. Everyone's alive.
It was all a dream.
Dream. Yes.
A strange,
No.
strange dream.
Unfortunately, listeners, we take another time sideways to
Yeah,
jump back slightly.
yeah. And again, this is cool tone. I love it's almost like a sepia kind of
Yeah.
different style. And that's to go, hey, yep, this is another flashback. This is when Splinter and Donnie arrived. I love the reference to Donnie saying, "Hey, I would like to take the moment to radio Leo and the others and let us know,
Yeah.
which they,
Yeah. So you remember from I think it was issue two, the issue 2 or 3 where Leo told Mikey and Donatello and to get Splinter out of there,
yeah,
and obviously they don't know what's happened to Leo and Casey just yet.
yeah. Um, but albeit that being said, that Donnie doesn't get to, um, they go to the meeting, with um Roku Hiroto, um,
Yep.
before he gets the chance to message back home. Um,
Mhm.
and that's when things get sad,
Mhm. Definitely.
because I mean you're obviously already thrown. You're sus about this because they're like, okay, like we're not meeting Hiroto now, like we're meeting your lackeys, and he's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, he hasn't come. He's just delayed because he's preparing a wonderful feast.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I smell BS.
Yeah, he's dining on turtle soup tonight for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
And then we get one of my favorite frames of Master Splinter in the whole comic. Just after that, when Hiroto does show up,
yeah,
and and there's that little moment with Donnie and Master Splinter. He's like, we know they're not here for. Well, how can we trust them? And Splinter said, if I trusted him, I wouldn't have bought weapons.
yeah.
And then, Hiroto rocks up and he's like, yeah, we're gonna kill you. And then Splinter just decapitates 3 ninjas
In
with
one
one
move.
swipe. And like,
Yes.
that's a side of Splinter you don't get to see.
No.
Which is like I was reading through the page and I read that and I went to the next page and I'm like, hold on, I had to go back
Yeah.
and have another look and it's just, yep, he's taken off the 3 heads in one swipe.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then he's like, you will call me Master Splinter, and I thought that was pretty
Yeah.
badass.
But it's also a sign here that I don't see. I've never seen a Splinter before either. Is that
No,
like there's also a lack of discipline in this moment.
yeah, I
Like
think
it's almost like he is so desperate to end this feud that he's just blinded for a moment because obviously they go into battle and they're getting beaten up pretty badly, but then Splinter does his insane amount of damage, but then in come the archers, and it's just instead of retreating, Splinter's like, no, I'm finishing this.
and I kind of think, and that's where it comes into it, where I'm kind of reading what's not on the page. Like I'm kind of thinking, like Johnny's still very naive and everything, but I honestly think that Splinter knows
Yeah,
that Leo didn't make it out.
yeah,
And it's something inside of him tells him that maybe even he thinks Mikey didn't make it out.
yeah.
And so he's like, this is our last stand.
All
And
right.
if we're gonna do anything here, if we're gonna put an end to this war, it's gonna be here, but we're gonna have to go hard.
Yeah,
And because you're right, it's a side of Splinter we've never seen before.
yeah,
And it's quite unnerving because he has no portion, no plan, no strategy. It's just basically at the end of the day, he's calling out Hiroto and he's like, "Come
yeah,
down. Why are you sending archers?
yeah,
Come down."
yeah,
And because of his ego, he takes him up on that.
yeah. And yeah, final Splinter. Oh, he threw. That's the first time I noticed this. He throws the sword
Yep.
at Hirotu, and he's like, "For my family."
Hmm.
Um, Donnie stands in the way of Splinter with all the arrows hitting him, and
Yeah.
and and then of course Splinter's last words is "my son," you know,
Yeah.
my son. Um, yeah, this is just utterly brutal. I highly reckon you guys read this and, and open the pages because this artwork's insane.
Well, and I love once we still don't know. Obviously we know, but we don't know, and then the reinforcements come, and then his master is just like rain hell,
yeah,
because he knows what's happened, what the Hiroto's done.
yeah, and
And then you've got typical. He's like, unhand me, even though he's copped a sword.
yeah,
He's like, unhand me. The armor took the brunt of it. I'm gonna. He wants to gut the. He says, I'm gonna gut this rodent with his own sword.
yeah,
And that's just again going back to last issue with that monologue on the top of the building. You know what
yeah,
I mean? He's just insane.
yeah, and
He nothing else is in his
yeah,
mind other than ending
yeah,
the line of Hamada Yoshi.
and he's only 16 here,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
So in a way, obviously he's going to send in a whole lot of archers. He's not going to play fair
yeah.
because he's not going to kill a master, you know. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, no, and he knows that. He knows he's not ready for it. But then,
yeah,
Splinter plays to that. He plays to his ego,
yeah,
and he's just like, "Why don't you do it yourself? You need to send archers, like
yeah,
seriously."
yeah,
And then he's like, "You know what? I can do this. I can do this." And it's just the arrogance and the ego. And the job gets done, but
yeah,
Splinter, he's not without his own scars.
yeah. And I love this final line from Master Shinichiro
Mhm.
um, that he says to Mikey, "There are people, creatures, teachers, warriors, heroes, and legends. Your father, Master Splinter, was all of these."
Yeah.
You know, um, let me flash back to that old school style, or flash forward, forward, back, forward. um, and he's Mikey is offered to stay with the clan, but he's like,
Yep.
no, I've got to. Um,
Well, it was too much of a reminder,
yeah,
yeah, that's what he says. He's like,
yeah,
seeing all the brave warriors surrounding me only remind me of everything I lost. It
yeah,
was too much to handle. So, he knew what he had to do,
yeah. And
you know?
then of course we get reiterated the importance of the mission, like
Mhm.
whether Mikey knew April was alive or
Yeah.
Whether April was here or not, the mission would still be the same. The last of Oroku must perish. All Oroku
Yep.
must perish. Um, yeah, so it's a feud that's been going on forever, and Mikey's got to finish it.
And then we move on and we get a little bit of a revelation here, which
Oh,
I was
oh,
kind of taken back, and he's
yeah,
like, he's just like when Mikey's talking about, Casey, like April's talking about Casey Marie's taken so much to him.
yeah,
And she's like, I never thought she'd be able to connect with someone the way that she has with you. And he's like,
yeah,
"Are you sure about that? Seems like our
yeah,
connection is by design, your design." And she's like,
yeah,
what are you talking about?" And then we get he's like, "When were you going to tell me about Casey's extra abilities?"
yeah,
And it goes through and it explains that they kind of worked out that her and Casey have kind of taken small amounts of mutagen just by hanging around the turtles for so
yeah,
often, for so long, and
yeah,
it kind of got into their blood or got into them. And by them having Casey Marie, she's kind of
yeah,
taken on, she's a little bit faster. She heals a little bit quicker.
yeah,
She's a little bit stronger.
yeah,
Um, and obviously they're talking about, does she know? And April's like, "No, you need to keep this between us." So,
yeah,
that I think is something that they've never really touched base with
yeah,
in anything that I've heard of and seen.
yeah,
Um, which is interesting because this has always happened with the Spider-Man thing, and there was a an infamous Spider-Man sort of Elseworld tale called Reign, as in Reign.
yeah,
And basically what it was, and I hate to be crude, but because Peter and Mary Jane were together for so long after he'd been exposed to the radioactive spider, and obviously they do what husband and wife do, and they had sex and all
yeah,
this kind of thing, she eventually got cancer because of his radioactive blood
yeah,
and, all this kind of thing. So she died, and he had to live on knowing that she was only dead because she was with him.
yeah,
And that's kind of a similar thing, not obviously as bad, but
yeah,
like you hang around with someone who's affected by, cosmic whatever or mutagen
yeah,
or radioactivity, there's bound to be some consequences.
yeah. Yeah, it's something they've never really explored before, so it was cool to you know, have that question answered, and
Yeah,
it's a cool concept, like, you know, mutagen, like we know that it changed, you know, animals into, almost
yeah.
sentient beings, and more humanoid creatures. But it's like,
Hmm.
what would that do to people?
Exactly.
I think they tackled
And
that on one of the cartoons. I think they tackled what happens if a human gets mutagen on them.
okay.
I can't remember what exactly, but if you guys you got you listeners out there, if you can remember that for us, send us an email to thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com, or check us out on stories_podcast on Instagram. Just a little plug there. But now this is like movie magic here. The whole, okay, we're talking about the plan.
Yep.
They're all prepping for the assault on Baxter Stockman,
Yep.
and then we're flashing forwards as the plan
Yep.
is being executed,
Laid
as they
out.
as
Yeah.
yeah, as they describe it, which is a cool. I didn't think it would work in the comic book as well as it does um in movies, but
Yeah.
clearly it's a visual thing, and I think
I, I
it
like
would.
to call it I like to call it the Ocean's 11 effect because that's
Yeah,
where
yeah,
they use it the most. They're like,
yeah,
"Okay, you're going to move here," and it's all happening in real time while they're explaining it. But
yeah.
no, it works. It
It
works
works.
definitely.
Yeah. Oh, cool. It's because it's a visual thing as well.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and I think it's well. I think it works well, and they keep referring to where's April? Why isn't April
Yeah.
here? Like, she's running late. What's going on? And
Mhm.
to be honest, I'd completely forgotten about the turtle tank. you know. And then she's like, "Oh well, look, I'm here now."
And then obviously just before that, you've got, I like it. I like it when you've got Hirotu there, and it's like we're receiving multiple reports of gunfire and explosion on Roosevelt Island.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Crazy back to Stockman, leave me alone, I'm working." And he's like, "Hold on."
Yeah.
On second thought, he just remembers where his tech comes from. And he's like, "Oh." thought we better make sure he's not blowing himself up, and
Yeah,
all the tech is secured. So I
yeah,
like that. There's a little bit of a care factor there.
yeah,
But basically just because he doesn't want to lose his tech.
yeah. And obviously his, this is where a lot of his soldiers come from too.
Exactly.
Um, the Singers, as they're called it. Um, now, obviously, this whole time, Baxter Stockman's going, "Oh, like people out there, they're always trying to get in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're no threat, you know."
Yeah.
And I love that his little floaty robot-y beacon thing is like calls him Your Majesty.
Yeah. That's all that. I like
Your
that.
Your Majesty, I respectfully request you reconsider heeding the security alert. If you would just look at the monitors, you'd.
Yeah.
Yes, I see. Um, send
But I
out the
mean,
mouse.
that's the arrogance again, like
Yeah,
he's
and
just like, eh,
for those playing at home, he's like almost full robot here, like
yeah.
very cyberpunk,
And he's still got those three little things which like are from the fly on the mid in
Yes,
the forehead.
yeah, yeah. It's like going, hey, remember this guy? Hey, 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 hey. Yeah, but in comes April in the army tank. Okay, we've got to get inside. Got to get inside. So she completely fries the mouses.
Yep.
Obviously, this is more than just like a tank. It's a bug zapper. Let's just
Yeah,
there's
pretty much, yeah.
there's a lot of juice coming out of this. So yeah, in they go. They've got to plug the Future Droid's head into Baxter's system,
Hmm.
basically to try and shut down everything.
Yeah.
Simple, well, not a simple, like easy to understand plan.
Yeah.
Execution's not always
No.
the the best. Of course, in they go. April jumps out, plugs the head into the system, um, and reactivates the Future Droid.
And I like how she gets one good shot in on Baxter. Like this from my husband, the typical action revenge.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And Baxter's just like, damn it, woman, I almost felt that.
yeah, and then a backhand slap.
Yeah.
But then I'd say this is one of the most epic villain deaths I've ever seen,
Yeah.
where he's trying to rip out the Future Toad, squeezing in a Lord of the Rings reference,
Yeah, I
albeit,
like that.
Future Toad says, "No, you shall not pass."
I like it. You shall pay for my family, for my friends, for everyone.
And then kaboom! Like literally, Baxter Stockman is ripped to pieces. And then obviously, what emerges is nanobots,
Hmm.
and they go everywhere. Some in an almost supernatural looking design there. If you remember Supernatural, Ryan, with the demons,
Yep, definitely.
it's definitely got that kind of pattern to it. And obviously, everything's powering down. Baxter's dead. The nanobites swarm. Honeycott is in control now, says April. It's awesome. And then, like, basically all of Hiroto's power, his army, his anything robotic that he controls is all shut down.
And then the citizens are taking to the street and breaking them down, and kind
Yeah,
of like we're back
yeah.
in charge.
For rock bottom, Hiroto's next, the bum. I think that they're probably some of Casey's crew, maybe.
Yeah.
Typical last page with there's no real cliffhanger on this one.
No, it's kind of just like, well, I wasn't really expecting one because
No.
we're going into the last one. I expected there to be the guys are just like, yep, okay, this is it. We're coming for you
Yeah.
kind of thing. You know what I mean?
But it's a typical, okay, well, look, we've won the battle. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically what they say. Casey Marie says, I think we won. April says, the battle, not the war.
Not the war. Yep.
And Mikey says, and not at a price I'm willing to pay anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, look. And I'm sorry to tell you guys, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer to get till we do the 5th episode.
Well, it's only fair because we had to wait like 6 months between issues.
Yeah. But
So
look, for those that have been listening to the podcast a while, if you've just been jumping on to the series we're doing now, we do have multiple styles of episodes. So the Comic Book Hour is a fortnightly show. The other fortnightly is the main show where Chris Park jumps on board and entertains us with his wit and controversial jokes and stuff like that. And then we've got our story chat, but story chat is thrown in whenever we can now. So at this stage, they happen on Saturdays. But like we said at the start of this episode, Jamie Johnson's going to come on the next Comic Book Hour episode. That'll be really fun. But then after that, the Comic Hour episode after that will be the issue 5 of The Last Ronin. And then possibly after that, it will be our review of Mutant Mayhem here in Australia. We had to wait a whole month.
Yeah, it was one of those weird ones where the Americans got it before us.
Yeah.
That doesn't usually happen anymore,
No.
but in this instance it has.
Yeah, which is strange. Because like we used to get all the Marvel movies before them.
Yeah, like a day before.
No, like no, sometimes a week.
Oh wow.
Or 2 weeks maybe. I know it was with at least with one. I think one or two of the Avengers, like the actual Avengers movies. But and then I think when Endgame and all that started, they wanted optimum the coinage, so they released it roughly on the same day. Yeah, I can't believe it, Ryan. One more issue to go.
That's it. One more to go, and then we can move on to something different.
Yeah. Our turtle themed series is wrapping up shortly, like within 3 more episodes probably. Look, it's been fun. Obviously, turtles have been a favorite of mine. Ever since I was a child, turtles has been my thing. Maybe Ryan, we should really do something related to your childhood. Like,
yeah, I'm just trying to rack my brain and trying to find something.
Is Batman your turtles? Would you say? Like,
no, not from when I was little. Spider-Man was, to be honest with you. Like that's what got me into comics. I started with Spider-Man, and that sort of went from there.
Maybe we should do like maybe a Spider-Man related.
Yeah, I've got a few in mind. I'm just trying to.
Because I've got the big Ultimate Spider-Man omnibus. I've got that one, which that's a great comic. I've got the Kraven's Last Hunt.
See, that's what I was thinking of because it's also topical.
Yeah. Obviously with the game coming out soon. And at the same time I'm yet to read that too. So
okay, maybe we'll do that because that was on my list. Because I've actually got digital and hard copy of that.
Right, cool.
So maybe that might be what we dive into. I think because it's really good. It's definitely one of the must reads. In my opinion, of Spider-Man history. Yeah. So yeah, I think that might be the one.
How many issues is that? Do you reckon?
I think it's 6.
Oh, cool, awesome, yeah. Because
definitely, we can knock it over in 6 episodes.
Yeah, because I love Kraven. Like I've always loved Kraven. Like he's such a cool villain. I love the whole concept. I've hunted every animal there is to hunt. Now I must hunt the next best thing, and man, he does some damage.
Definitely, and I think it's you look at New York or Manhattan or Queens, whatever you want to say, Forest Hill, is where Spider-Man's from. You look at you've got the lizard, you've got like all the different game he could go after. So I think maybe that might be the winner. I think that might be the one to do.
All right, consider it done. We will lock it in.
Yeah.
Spider-Man will be our next journey. But
I mean, I can never read enough Spider-Man, so that's I like that.
And maybe we should mix it up a bit. We'll do IDW, we'll do Marvel, we'll do Dark Horse, we'll do DC.
Well, Dark Horse, I think the go-to will be some Hellboy for that. I think.
And like I've never read any Hellboy, so I'd probably be up for that too.
Yeah, definitely. But we've got there's an unlimited amount of comics out there, so we'll keep going as long as you keep listening.
And thank you guys for listening, because like since me and Ryan started doing these kind of episodes, we had more people jumping on. and I've noticed the increase. But yeah, don't be afraid to reach out. Like we will talk to anyone. We'll read out your comments, good or bad, on the show. Hate mail, love mail, neutral mail, whatever it may be. thetrueandthefictional at gmail.com. Stories_podcast on Instagram. Yeah, reach out. We'd love to hear from you.
Definitely.
I think that's the end of the episode, Ryan, unless you've got anything else to say.
It is. No, I think we've covered pretty much everything at the moment, and I'm looking forward to the interview next week. I think it's going to be really cool. And then obviously, the finale of The Last Ronin.
100%. Thanks again, guys, and we will catch you next time.
See you next time.